Hello! Can you guys hear us? I can see you all in chat there. Let me know when you can hear us. Takes a minute for it to kick in. Oh, there you go. Got some yeses there. Alright, well if you guys have been following this channel for a while, I've done I think two different live sort of roundtable discussion type things in the last month or so on the Nanette Krentel case. Her maiden name's Watson. And let me turn down this music a little bit. Now it's starting to really blare in there. Right? The case has been ruled a murder by the medical examiner, and the police say it was as well, of Nanette Krentel. She was found in her house with a gunshot wound to her head, and the house was set ablaze, and I mean, it literally incinerated the entire house. It looked like something out of a nuclear bomb, like if you were to take a shot of the ground after a nuclear bomb went off. That's about what it looked like. There was basically only cement left, and amazingly, her husband at the time was the fire chief in the town. So he would be particularly adept at perhaps setting a fire that would do that kind of damage, right? So that's kind of like the basic, gist of the case, but it's a lot more detailed than that. So with us right now is Gina Watson, Kim, and what was is that your last name too? I didn't look at it. Hello?
Yep.
Oh, you're Watson? I mean, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I wasn't looking at that. Okay, and then I guess there's Wendy's on the phone, but she's driving. Hopefully she'll be paying attention to the road more so than what we're saying. All right. So why don't you fill us in on more?
Thank you for having us on again.
Yeah, it's really interesting actually when people are calling in and have information that we haven't heard. So why don't you?
Yeah, and we hope more people will call in tonight.
Yeah. So why don't you do like we have a little bit of a delay. That's just how it is. So sometimes I might talk over you, but I'm not doing it intentionally. Although my viewers would say, "Yes, you are, Gray. Yes, you are." Yeah, so why don't you just fill in the rest of the story? I mean, just a deeper dive into it, right? I'm going to add some more people to the call, though. So go ahead, Gina.
Okay. Well, this happened July 14th of 2017, and at first we were just told that it was a house fire, and it was speculated, I think, by Steve and I don't know who else, that perhaps lightning could have struck the house. Might have gone back inside to rescue her pets because she had 2 cats and a little dog that also died in the fire. It didn't quite sit well with any of us that knew her, but going into the funeral about a week later, there was an anonymous tip put out on a website called Louisiana Voice. And it was somebody from the fire marshal's office or the sheriff's office had given a tip that she had a gunshot wound to the head. And, we went into motion trying to figure out if this rumor was true. I think Dan asked the coroner, and they wanted to know how we knew that. They went into kind of a panic. So this wasn't information that I don't think they ever intended to give up. I'm not sure why they would sit on it. Presumably they knew about this from either the day that it happened or the next morning, and yet they were just going to sit on this information and let us believe that she had just accidentally died in a house fire. I mean, Kim, what do you think?
That's the way it felt to me when they didn't tell us and we had to find out through a leaked article.
Yeah, and then the official news came through the night of the memorial service, or around 5 o'clock, I think it was. Everybody's phone started buzzing with the news alert. that the sheriff had come out, and before he even told any family members, had come out and just told the news that she had a gunshot wound to the head. I think as a knee-jerk reaction to this being leaked, would be my guess.
Yeah, no one.
Right,
Yeah,
and if you start connecting the dots, because this is the thing, the night of the memorial, the day we found out that it was a gunshot wound, Chad gets a phone call, and Daniel Buckner tells Steve, which Steve calls Chad while we're still at dinner, which was only about 2 hours after we left the hall. So that means that Steve was only interrogated for about an hour and a half because my brother was there. But so 2 hours after, no, my brother wasn't at that one. So he was there the night of the fire. But at the memorial, my brother didn't go with them. But 2 hours after we left the hall, Steve called my brother and told him that they were leaning towards suicide. So it's just like the sheriff acted both times. The day of the memorial, he got on the thing and said he didn't like the timing of it, and his mannerisms and his body language was very odd, and he had the same body language and the same oddness when the coroner was on, and he came out the next day. He said he didn't like the timing. Those are the same two things he said both times.
That's true, he did.
Like the timing of it. Yeah, and so he had nothing else to say, because I believe that they thought we were all going to walk away. I think Steve believed that all of us, you were going to go back to Iowa, and he had removed y'all away from Nan. He was able to convince y'all to stay away for 3 years and Nan to stay away from y'all for 3 years, because if all of us talked and all of us really did not see her for 3 years. So I think that Steve thought that we would all just quietly go back to our lives and that everybody would just go away. Because he made the comment to my brother, well, where's everybody been, while Nan was alive? And I just think that's a really odd comment. We've all been there. We've been waiting for Nan to decide that this isn't what she wanted. She didn't want this life of isolation and this, control. And I was waiting for that phone call. And don't think I didn't pray about it often. But, it all adds up. That's what it adds up to.
Dad wanted to visit her, too, because, she kept telling him how afraid she was. But, like, can you come up here? And he was going to go down there, and she's like, it's not safe. Just kept putting it off bit by bit. Like, just wait till it's safe.
I know.
Yeah,
and
it's one of those things that in hindsight...
Yeah. Yeah.
Because nobody wants to force anybody to do something in a relationship until they're ready. And nobody would have dreamed that this would happen.
Yeah. Hey, on the screen right now, for people who haven't seen it, this is the moment her husband found out that the house was on fire. Well, not the moment he found out, but right when he was arriving there. And look how absolutely devastated and panicked this guy is. I think I've never seen anybody so upset and distraught in my life. Look at. Oh, wait, he really doesn't look like that. He looks like he's on a Sunday drive. Not one scowl, not one wrinkled, furrowed brow, nothing. Even has time to look down at his seatbelt, casually open the door, and get out. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, every time I see this one, that's where, if this was played to a jury, even, just this right here, half of them would say guilty just looking at that. And they should, because this isn't like, well, everybody acts differently. When people say, that is true. Like, sometimes in interrogation, people don't act the way that you want them to. But this is a situation where your house that you worked so hard on building, apparently, and your wife is possibly inside, and your pets are all going to be dead. A really good chance of it. He pulls up and looks like this, right here, right there. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, and it's not just that one frame. I didn't stop it on one frame. That's his look the whole time. Now, the guy in the seat next to him, wow. He looks like he's terrified.
He's already out the truck. Look at that.
Yeah, and his eyes are big. Yeah, he probably already has the door open. And then God, look at that bam, he's out. And this guy, well, hold on, let me let me check a few things. Yeah, that's something I could look at. I can't find anything at all in there that makes him seem like he's upset or worried or anything.
And the other thing is
Or
he
even
never went looking for his wife.
Yeah. What was
He never
that?
went in the house looking for Nan, but he made all of his firemen go do it. Who doesn't go look for their loved one? I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, especially as a fireman too, you know. I mean, he knows how to, you know. I don't know. I mean, they would argue he just didn't want to see her or something like that. He could argue that out. The key is just this video. I mean, literally, I don't know. It's hard to even explain how absolutely plain his face looks. And then he has those cries in other interviews. But where was it? Right here. You look like. Anyways. So I'll
one of those cries in the what was it, the Crime Watch Daily interview, where he talks about the line of firemen that blocked his view from having to see Nanette's remains removed. And then Amy had called in, I think that was part one, let us know that he actually wasn't even there for that. So this whole thing that he cried about in the TV show was made up, his own little made-up fantasy, or what?
He wasn't even there.
And if you look closely, there's no tears anyhow.
Yeah, and this is the road right here. Just driving down, and he pulls up. And if you guys remember, I did the overlay with one of the aerial shots, put it right on Google Earth, exactly where that where the house was. I'm gonna try that.
And remember how we had talked about the trailer?
Yeah. Randy was obsessed
Then
with that.
one of the firemen that watched the last episode called in, or let somebody know, one of us know, that he actually unhooked the gasoline that day, or the gas supply to the, probably propane, to that trailer. So that means it was hooked up.
Interesting. And what's the deal? I mean, even in one of those drone shots, I mean, I don't know, maybe he uses those gas cans to fill up the, I don't know if he had an SUV or whatever it was, but there's one drone shot that has like 4 red gas cans outside. I mean, is that what it's assumed that maybe he used, was gas cans?
Well, I mean, they had a lot of lawn to mow, but it is just an eerie shot, considering.
Yeah, I think it's this one right here, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Bunch of gas cans. When was this filmed, by the way? Do you know?
I want to say, I mean, that was quite a while ago.
He took
a few years ago.
Drone, didn't he?
Yeah. That was when his drone, the other shots were taken by another photographer that he hired, you know, after the fact, because his drone was, well, apparently destroyed. But
they couldn't find it. Another item.
Apparently not. Perhaps not.
Along with the Rolex, you know, those expensive items, boy, they just didn't seem to be found in the fire there.
Right.
All right. So what else do you guys got? You guys are the storytellers on this one. I mean, I know parts of it, but in this case, you guys are the ones with all. I mean, we do know that he was at the time that she was murdered. He was dating somebody else, and then he continued to see her for a while even after that. And he claims, well, I was calling it off with her, and I talked to that. Me and Nanette's life was just dandy. We were moving forward. We decided that I wouldn't see the mistress anymore, and you know, that's just all bogus right there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he was that night.
What's that? Hello?
Well, in the first show, he says that. In the second show, he says it didn't look like it was going to work out between Nan and him. So he's contradicting himself.
Yeah. Maybe there was proof coming out and he was trying to head it off. Well, I meant that we were going to work it out.
Yeah. First, he tried to tell people that she approved of the affair and that she wished prostitution was legal because she didn't want to have sex with him. So go ahead and have a relationship with another woman as long as it wasn't an emotional affair, which none of us believe that for a second.
So he's trying to make her look bad too, as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And then there was some rumor about her doing stuff with others. It's like, no, just stop. You're cheating, and she wasn't. But he was trying to make her look.
Yeah, the swinger rumor, that's true. Which he never told us that, but we heard it from some of the other firemen and stuff, that they were swingers, which I just can't see.
Right.
I mean, I don't even know.
And she was telling people that she was worried about her life at some point, right?
Yeah, honestly, she had some family members of Stephen that she was afraid of and that she didn't want to be around.
Right.
She told me
like in that last.
What was that?
Oh, damn.
But towards the end, who did she tell that she was supposed to go camping with Steve and then she canceled because she didn't trust him? Who did she tell that to?
Dad. She told that to Dad.
And that was just a few weeks before her death, right?
Right. She said.
What was that?
She told me, and this would have been about the very end of May 2017. She said she didn't trust Steve any longer. She refused to go anywhere with him. He wanted to go camping with her. She refused. He wanted her to go to his mother's for dinner. She refused. She said, I will not even get in the car and go for a ride with him because I don't trust him.
Wow.
So from there, it was starting to really go downhill. Their relationship was, and I don't know. She never told me that she was afraid for her life. But she did say she didn't trust Steve.
Right, I think if you had thought she was afraid for her life, then that would be a different story. You'd either go down there or have her come up.
So that's something he invented, Stephen? That she said that? Because I remember hearing that or reading that she had becoming scared. You remember it was something like the neighbor, there was some guy caught on surveillance. There was something like that. What was that all about? And she bought guns for protection. Wasn't there a feeling like that she was nervous about something?
Yes, but that started clear back when Brian was released from prison. And that's when the cameras were put in place, and that's when they had additional locks put on the entry doors, and Steve bought the guns, and they began to do practice on a regular basis with them. And so that started then. Then it sort of trickled over into, prior to that, Nanette was extremely fearful of Justin, didn't want him on the property. So, I mean, they kind of all rolled together, and as time passed, Nanette seemed to be the only one that was afraid of Brian. Stephen wasn't after a while, and I don't know what was happening with that, but Steve's mother began to treat Nan pretty bad, making snide comments to her and so forth. And so, the whole relationship between Nan and Steve's son, the brother and the mother, all was deteriorating very rapidly. And that all began right after Herman, Stephen's father, passed away.
I have a note here from Nanette to Dan, actually as far back as 2015, that says about Justin, I am scared of him and that he will or would harm me, but how do I stop that feeling because I can't stop him from coming to see his dad? I told Steve that I've always felt that way, and he sees his aggression to me, and he will not ever let him come here without Steve here.
That's kind of
I just happened to see that just now.
And then you have that one, that video where she's dancing with him at his wedding, right?
And that's the thing that Steve brings up to say, no, they were very close.
Yeah, she didn't look that happy.
Justin called her mom.
Yeah, she didn't look like she was loving it. You know?
I didn't think so.
Yeah.
I didn't think so.
She wasn't happy there.
Yeah.
What happened with that was that the families were at odds with one another. And so Nanette was trying to be peacemaker and move in and be supportive of, you know, the newlyweds and Justin. And so she was doing that. She felt like she accomplished it because they didn't start, you know, a big argument between family members when they were at the wedding. And that's where that picture came from. She had gone out of her way to try to smooth things over, and hence the dance picture came from that. But that was certainly not anywhere near what the norm was for the relationship between Nan and Justin.
Yeah. And let's see. Well, do you guys? What about the? I mean, do you think the motive? What do you think the motive is in this case? Just not having to pay alimony, pension, all that kind of stuff. If it's him.
I think it was also a control issue. Sorry, Dad. Go ahead.
I think Nanette was going to vote him out because he had said if he doesn't change, he's out. And I think that's what happened. I think the reason the gas was on to the camper was that Steve was already living in it. But I don't know that. He never told me that.
Yeah. You know, there's actually a case that is going on right now that's similar, the Cheryl Coker case. It really, when I sit around and think about it, it kind of reminds me a little bit, because in that case you had a husband who was, you know, they were swingers in this case, but he wasn't supposed to love any of them, but then he started just seeing one exclusively, and then his wife was like, hey, you gotta quit doing this, and then all of a sudden, I mean, this is just a hypothetical, we don't know if this is fact yet, it still hasn't been solved, that one either, but it has a similar ring to it. Like, she's just disappeared, nobody knows where she is. Her car was seen over at a shopping mall being dropped off, and nobody ever saw the person leaving the car, and she's just hasn't been seen yet, but it seems like a similar type of motive, you know, like, because the Coker case, she was going to try to get all of the you know, like, support, and they had a young child, and she was going to get custody, and then it's just a money thing. I mean, I guess it's really pretty common, to be honest with you, but that's one that we are discussing. Sadly, you can actually say that's common in terms of motive. You know.
Well, this is the thing.
I think we need to be
like the country. She didn't like living out there in the middle of nowhere, and if his family was threatening her, and his family is the reason she felt uncomfortable and not safe, then why wouldn't he have sold that house and bought a house in the middle of town where my sister would have felt a lot more comfortable and a lot safer? But he goes and does that after she's dead, because he was the main reason they didn't live in the city, because he didn't like having neighbors. He liked being isolated. He liked having his own property. He liked being out in the woods. But the minute all that's gone, he goes and buys in a subdivision. I mean, if you would have told me that my brother-in-law Steve was buying in a subdivision, I would have laughed at you and I would have bet money against it. He doesn't like people. He's not personable. And he bought that house for Sarah. He didn't buy that. He bought the house for Sarah. I'm sorry. You can't convince me otherwise.
How long after Nanette was murdered was that shot of him in a restaurant with that lady? Your little surveillance.
Colin, the photograph in the restaurant was November the 8th of 2017.
But they were at that restaurant together the night of the memorial. So.
Yeah.
And they were in downtown Covington on August 10th, less than a month after her death, partying and hanging on each other with 2 other fire chiefs and their wives.
We have 7 people on the phone, by the way. I've been adding.
Okay. We got.
Yeah.
This is Bobby Couillon.
Yeah. Why don't you guys talk about whatever you want to be talking about? There's 7 of you.
Bobby.
Hey, who's on here?
Kim.
We've got Kim, Gina, Wendy, Dan.
Hey guys. Good to talk to y'all.
Oh.
Hey, Bobby, it's the Facebook police. We're about to put you back in jail.
Yeah. Hey, look, one of you guys actually called me up at 4:30. Came on on the same. I don't even know how they got the number. Well, I guess maybe you guys posted it, but they came on at 4:30.
We've been posting it around.
It was hilarious. Like at 4:30, somebody dials. I'm just working away on my computer, and then I answer it, and then they say, "Hey, I'm just here to listen in on the podcast." And I was like, "No, the number's for."
I'm sorry.
Was that you? Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's me. I'm sorry. No, it wasn't me at all. I'm sorry I'm late to the game. I just got done to talk to everybody and give my opinion.
Yeah. Well, let's hear it.
Well, go ahead.
Bobby, you know more about sheriffs than a lot of us.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much time you guys have. I just know that it's really a shame that we have this corruptive behavior that this sheriff represents, and he is lending itself into this case or lack thereof, and people aren't getting answers. And is it because he's close friends with Stephen Krentel, or is it just the fact that he doesn't want to affect his high murder rate? I don't know.
Hey, if you get added to the call, just don't start talking, because you've heard that other people are talking. You know, hey everybody, I'm here. Listen, just let the kind of join in when there's a free moment, okay? Because somebody was in the middle of speaking. All right, so right now there's 9 of you on there right now. All right, maybe I should limit it to.
I'll stand by until someone tells me to speak.
No, yeah, well, if you were the one that was speaking though, right? You were just talking.
Okay, so sorry.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Here's the thing. You know, we as citizens of St. Tammany Parish are at a loss that no one can get answers in this case. And when the family presents so much good evidence to this defunct sheriff and he is doing nothing, it lends itself to either improprieties or he is just trying to cover this case up. And I don't know what it's for, because of his friendship with a potential suspect, which he cleared, which I'm blown away that you never clear anyone till the case is solved, or just the lack of care for this family. I'm at a loss.
I agree.
Hey. Oh, you talking to me? I thought you said, hey, Gray. You said agree, though, didn't you? Okay.
Yeah, I said I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I thought you said my name.
So what happens when this guy sits there and says, oh, this wasn't Nanette, this wasn't this person, when the family is saying, no, they were saying it was Nanette in the video, and the family is saying, that's not our sister, that's not my daughter, as Dan Watson said. And yet he's going to fight it and argue it, and he's going to fight the pathologist in saying, oh, it was a suicide, when these pathologists are highly trained, as well as not allowing a pathologist to examine the body when you would think you want to use every resource available to solve this murder.
Absolutely.
Wow.
That's the thing that irritates me the most, is when we have court filings, Dad goes down there to make sure our pathologist gets there. Oh yeah, you know, you can use our facility, everything is all good. They get down there and they're calling me, and we can't get the attorney on the phone, and it's like they're not letting us do anything. We can't even take notes. We can't take pictures, and I'm like, what in the hell is going on down there? What are they trying to do?
Absolutely.
I have no words to give you. I pray every day for your family, Kim. I really do. And I fight every day to get answers. And I've never seen such a cover-up. And let me give you guys an example. There was a sheriff in Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, by the name of Harry Lee. There was a murder that was committed by a friend of his, Vince Marinella, who was a well-known sportscaster. Harry Lee said, I have to put my personal feelings aside, and I have to charge this guy because he committed the murder. Case in point, let's say the primary suspect or potential primary suspect is friends with the sheriff. The sheriff has a sworn obligation to move forward with this case, and he has done nothing but try to sweep it under the rug, and that is truly a travesty.
Why is that? Why?
I personally think there's a connection between in my opinion, the potential suspect and the sheriff. And I think that something could come back to bite the sheriff in the butt, and he is doing everything possible to sweep this up under the rug.
And my question is, why Nanette? Why her case?
That's something that Randy
This
Smith needs to
is
answer.
the other thing. I honestly think the sheriff is lazy, as I've gotten to know him. I think that he had his men do this. I think Daniel Buckner is a complete and total idiot, and he had no right being the head investigator on this case. I think Steve snowed Daniel Buckner from day one. I mean, when you watch Chris Watts, and you watch that whole case, for over 3 hours, Chris Watts would not budge. He said that his wife went on a play date, he hadn't seen her, and he would not budge. It wasn't until they interrogated for over 10 hours when he started to fold. And Steve was only in Daniel Buckner's office for an hour and a half.
So was it Daniel from the beginning? Was it Daniel Buckner, the lead investigator from the beginning?
Yes, he was the one that was there the night of the fire. So what I'm saying is he never interrogated Steve long enough. He never got other people in there that were seasoned.
Hmm? Yes. Here's another thing is, and I'm going to revert back to the previous sheriff. Harry Lee said in the Vince Marinello case, he says, everyone is a suspect except me because I know I didn't do it. Whereas if Steve should never have been cleared, because now, in the event that evidence proves that Steve was involved with this, his attorney's going to beat the case and say, wait, Sheriff Randy Smith, you said my client was clear. Now you're going to come back? The case is a debacle because of the connection between Randy Smith and Stephen Krentel.
And what connection is there between them?
They're friends.
Great.
They are friends. They've been out associating and going out drinking and having a good time.
Yeah. Believe it or not, there's 11 people on this thing now.
Great.
Well, I'm gonna knock it down back to 10, guys.
You talking to me?
I'm praying for all. This is Bobby. I'm just saying that I'm praying for you guys. I'm praying for the Watson family, and I'm going to keep fighting for y'all. Okay? If y'all need anything, you know where to get me. Y'all know my opinion. I think the sheriff is a joke. I think he has ruined this case, and I hope to God that this case gets solved by our next sheriff so that Dan Watson and the rest of the family can get some closure.
Thank you so much, Bobby.
God bless you guys. Bye-bye.
And also, you guys remember we have the McDonald's I mean, see, the issue that's out there is the issue that's out there is whether or not she was still alive the night. I mean, that she was murdered the night before, even, and that she wasn't even alive on that day. However, the police say that there's surveillance of her at McDonald's, but they won't release it because it's too grainy to really tell if it's her or not. So then, why are they? It's like, and they won't let it out because they don't want people to start questioning the footage. And so, because that's a key thing, if somehow you could prove that that's not her in McDonald's, we have the receipt that had an amount on it. That maybe was too high, but it's not like ludicrously. It's not a huge anything like that. So, if you can prove that she wasn't in that car, then it opens up. It's a whole new ball game at that point. Now they should at least put it out in the public, because maybe somebody could look at it and go, "Oh yeah, well that's not her." In my opinion.
Right. I really wish that they would.
You guys are so quiet for 10 people. You're really let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. There's only 9 of you on there now. So who's new? Who just added?
Who else is here?
This is I'm actually a friend of Bobby Coupion's. I was just listening.
Okay, so how about the friend of Bobby say something? Talk.
I accidentally called in earlier. I was mistaken on the time frame, and had heard y'all say that. Okay. But I was in the same boat as Bobby, just wishing for them to get the case solved and actually do justice on this. It's just been atrocious on what's been done in St. Tammany Parish.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, that's just terrible. Terrible. That's terrible.
And who else just added a minute ago? If you want to say something.
Well, I was just going to say that.
Well, I was going to say yes.
The main thing that the sheriff said was that the reason they cleared Steve was because he was at work and because of the video of Nanette McDonald. Because I'm like, okay, well, he was at work, but he could have killed her the night before. Well, we have this video, and we can tell 95% is her. Well, you can't. And that's what's so discerning. They held out for this video over a year before they let her family see it, and it doesn't show anything. It's very grainy. You can't tell anything.
Yeah, you've seen it, right?
So if that's what they're going on, then I don't really have much faith in their investigation, because that video doesn't show any kind of proof to me whatsoever.
You've seen
exactly.
It
doesn't show anything. Nothing. Nothing at all.
What?
Somebody else called in. Now we have 10. And here's another one. You're going to have 11. All right, there's some new callers. You'll have to fight amongst yourself to speak.
Wait.
What's that? Who are you speaking to? What does that mean? Hey, come on! You're on a live stream.
Wait. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead. What?
Hey, I was going to ask you. I haven't been on your channel in a long time.
Who is this?
Justin Longerman.
Yeah.
Longerman.
Okay.
I haven't been on your channel in a long time, and I'm curious, am I blocked or banned from your channel? Or?
Hey, you know what's weird is I don't give a shit. If you aren't, I'll block you right after the show's over, just for calling to ask that question.
No, great.
That's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Listen, I'll tell you what. Why don't you get off the line? We want to talk to the family members and so forth here that actually are talking about the case. This isn't an open chat night. All right? All right, cool.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea about that.
All right. Talk to you later. All right, see you. Make sure you hang up, too. Right?
Sorry.
Wow, there was that voice. That voice just kept popping in there. He's still on the phone. I can see that he hasn't hung up yet. Make sure you hang up, Justin. We want to just open up the lines for the family members. Okay?
Bye.
I wonder if that voice was even real. It's like, hey, Gray.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah.
Forget it. There's no way in hell that was legit. Anyways, hey, come on, see? Hey, that's what I do. I make people laugh too, all right? I'm just honest here. When you hear something like that, that's ludicrous. Why don't you call up and ask if I can get you something? I don't know. That was just ludicrous. Hey, am I?
You should ask Chris Hines. Is that you? Is that you, Chris?
I don't know who it was. Yeah.
That was Steve. That was Steve or Chris or Justin or something.
Yeah, something.
Wow. Imagine that. Like, there's a whole show talking about a case and somebody literally calls up to see if they're blocked. Man, the mindset.
I wanted to know if I was blocked.
Yeah, see, you're still there. I can tell that you're still there. How come you haven't hung up yet, Justin? Hey, Justin, how come you haven't hung up yet?
He doesn't have any video of his, he doesn't have any video of his house, but he has something to muffle his mouth just now.
Yeah.
He thinks we're stupid.
Right. I almost have to start over again. Let's see what this one. All right.
Wendy, did Sheriff ever text you again?
Well, I gave him the information today, and told him about the call, and I said if you're not willing to talk, maybe just get on the call. You could get some good information, and maybe Detective May can get on the call. But I never heard back. And then I sent him a message, and I was like, "Are we going backwards in our relationship? Because you were texting me back right away, and now you're not texting back."
Going backwards.
I haven't heard back.
Yeah.
He didn't. So he never did say what he was confirming or was going to confirm.
No, he didn't say, and he hasn't called me back about Justin flying in or driving in. Have y'all gotten confirmation from him about that?
No. Two different stories.
I mean, that's pretty important.
Well, when I was at the coroner's office on the Monday following the fire, Steve was there, and Justin walked in the door, and Steve said, Justin just flew in. He went to his grandparents, maternal grandparents' house, and that's where he got the pickup to drive to the coroner's office. So that's what I was told that Monday.
Right, and Cox told my sister and I when we met with Cox, because we've been concerned from Justin from day one, and Cox said that he had a copy of the plane ticket, and he knew that he took it. I said, well, anybody can buy a plane ticket and not take the plane. Oh, I have confirmation he was on the plane, and I have all that. I just can't show you any of this. And but the second show says that, they could be wrong, but the second show says that Justin immediately drove in, started driving back into town. So now I don't know what to believe, and the fact that they haven't gotten back to me about it. But that could change the whole thing if their story's not right and they really don't have confirmation, and Justin drove in instead of flown in.
I feel like this entire case has just been based on Steve said that, so it must be true, right? Like, it just seems like so many details are left up to just like, oh, well, that's what they said.
Hey, we got a 281 area code. Who's that? Who called in?
Her son, Justin. Hey, I'm still on the phone, and that's Justin. I'm still on the phone.
What, the 281? What's your number?
No, I think there's two Justins on here now.
I heard a different Justin.
Yeah.
The 281 is Justin, her son.
Right, but there's another Justin. So you're the stepson.
Hey, I'm still here, guys. Don't forget about me.
So did you fly in or drive in, Justin?
I flew in. I got the phone call that afternoon from my father, and he called me. I was actually out to dinner with my wife. We got a phone call from my dad saying that there was a fire and my mom was dead, and So I immediately went to my in-laws in Hampton, Virginia, and booked the flight, that first flight out of here that next morning. So at that point when I got the phone call, it was too late to fly out that night. So I flew out that first flight in that morning.
Could you tell me when it was that you found the bone and the bullet?
I don't know the day. It was, I mean, whenever the police had released the scene.
So you found it after the scene was released?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm being respectfully quiet, at times.
I don't know which one of the... I almost feel like I want to hang up on all the calls and start over again. Get you guys the ones that are legit. You can call back in. We gotta
Thank
get rid
you, Justin, for answering it.
But why don't you keep talking, Justin, and then after that we'll try to clear the boards here.
We had... I mean, when I didn't step
How
foot...
does Sarah know I'm from Ohio? How does she know I'm from Ohio?
I don't
This
know.
other Justin, would you please, for the love of God, get off the line? I don't want you on this call.
Right.
I don't want you talking about my cousin's case. Get the...
Yeah.
Can I swear on here?
Get
off
go
the
ahead.
call.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't care.
Get off the call,
Good
please.
times. I know you're having relationship problems.
Okay.
Find someone
Out of respect, I'll hang up.
particular activity.
I'll hang up.
Thank
Okay,
you. Thank
I'll
you.
hang up. Bye-bye.
Oh,
They okay.
sorry, everybody.
They may have hung up. I don't know. There's a number
For the
here.
people that are typing in chat, you have to know that there are two Justins on the line. The son is being very, very polite. The other one is a caller from other cases, just so you all know.
Justin K., are you still there?
Yeah.
Who just joined the call here? Somebody. I want to make sure this isn't a bad person. Who just joined in just now?
It's a friend that called last time.
Okay, yeah. So
just calling in. And
okay, well, I'm gonna go back to Justin, but I just want to make sure you weren't the troll. I'm trying to. Okay.
No.
All right. So
Please,
Justin,
God,
go ahead.
no.
Sorry about that. All right, go ahead.
So, I mean, after, I don't know, it was, I think, a couple of days. I don't know exact when they released the scene. That is when, they had released it to us. And so at that point, we still had no clue that it was, I think it was Kim that said that, it was at the funeral when, the morning of the memorial that we found out that it was a gunshot. At that point, we had no clue it was even a murder.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But-
I have to. Nope. I have to jump in. Jump in. This is Lori. Lori, I'm sorry. Justin.
Thanks, Lori. I thought I was going to say your part. I didn't know you were here.
I held my tongue as long as I could. That is not true. You told me personally at the service, after the service, after we found out that it was a gunshot wound, you told me that you were told personally by the police on Monday that she was shot and that you were not supposed to tell your father. Did you or did you not tell me that?
I did not tell you that. That is a complete lie from you, Lori.
My God.
You are... That is a complete lie. I have never once said that. I did not say that.
Oh, okay. Okay. And you didn't tell me that you found a piece of her skull either.
I did say that.
Oh.
Well, no, he's saying that he found skull, Laurie. He's not taking that back. He found a bullet and skull. And that part alone is very upsetting.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I did say that I found that. And
did you hand it over to someone?
I did not touch it at all.
Caliber?
Lori, can you please let me talk, please? Because your inaccurate statements are throwing the whole investigation off.
No, mine are actually factual.
I haven't seen any factual comments of yours.
Okay, let's not do this.
But I did tell you that I did find those, and I did not touch it. The private investigator was there. That my
what
dad
private investigator?
Are you speaking about Jones?
I do not know his name offhand. But it was the private investigator, the fire private investigator that my father had hired, along with the insurance investigators, were on scene.
Insurance investigators, like life insurance and house insurance investigators?
For the house.
Oh, okay then.
And as soon as I saw it, I backed away. And I told the private investigator, who came over and took pictures and collected it into evidence, which gave it to the crime scene investigators.
So Justin, can I say this back to you to make sure that I'm clear in what you're saying? Here's what you're saying. You're saying that you were there, your father was there, Jones was there, house insurance people were there, life insurance. Okay, you just said that there were insurance people there, your dad was there, Jones was there, and then you said the fire investigators were there.
Hold on.
I never once said Jones. I said I do not know the name of the investigator. I never once said Jones. I do not know who this Jones is. And I did not.
You're assuming it could be Jones, but
yeah. And I didn't. I want to say his first name was Rick.
Yeah. Sounds like the same person.
Right, Gina.
And I did not say there was a life insurance investigator there.
The house insurance.
Just the house insurance and the fire investigator was there.
Okay, thank you for that, Justin, for clarifying that. I appreciate it.
Justin, why would Nanette say she was scared of you?
That, I believe, is a miscommunication. I do not believe if she said that, I do not believe that she was scared of me. If anything, she was scared of me that I was going to do something if Brian Krentel did anything, that I would act. And then cause family turmoil. That is what she was. She was never scared of me.
Can everybody make sure that they have their YouTube muted if they're on the phone, so that we don't hear the echo?
Okay, that's absolutely not true. It's absolutely not true what he's saying, and I have emails to prove it. Absolutely not true.
Yeah.
Then can I get a copy?
I'm not going to defend Justin by what he just said, but maybe he wasn't told that by Nanette. Maybe she told other people but did not say that to his face.
I think, is that
just
Lori
a thought.
Saying she has emails?
Excuse me?
We've all seen emails where Nanette expressed fear.
Okay, may I get a copy of the emails?
To do what with? What would you do with them?
To read them myself and look at them myself.
Yeah.
Why hurt yourself now after this is all over with? Why don't you? If you didn't know she was afraid of you, then that's the end of the statement. I mean, Justin,
because I have never once seen any. The only things I've seen are what are on the shows. And it's out. You don't see the before or the after of what's in communication. You know, so it can be taken however you want to show it. It's not actually the context of what's going on.
So what was the deal with Brian? Why would you have done something to Brian?
Because he was at that time he was threatening her. He was threatening her and my dad.
Excuse me, at what time? What time are you aware of the fact that Brian was threatening Nanette and your father? What time are you talking about?
A year, the whole time he was in prison.
More than once?
I know of 1 or 2 occasions, yes.
Okay, that's good. Thank you for saying that.
What do you think happened to Nanette?
I honestly
Who killed
have
her?
no clue.
I don't know. I have no idea. No idea.
Why are you still here?
Who is that?
Some freak. Hang up.
I think they called in again.
So rude.
I wasn't sure what the number is, but now I'll make sure that doesn't happen. Let's see.
Okay.
I think. Let me see how to do this.
So weird.
Yeah, it's weird how somebody just doesn't have anything else to do in the world except call in and act like a goofball.
Hey, is there a way that you can pull those records and we can give it to the sheriff who's calling in and doing that? Can you tell whose phone number that? Can you tell on your end so we can submit that to the sheriff and find out who that freak is?
Yeah, I can get you the number later.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks.
So, Justin, if Brian had really threatened them, like, why are you saying you have no idea what could have happened to her? Don't you think it's possible that it's related?
From in the beginning, I did believe that. But I have no proof one way or another. And, I mean, the only things that I'm getting is the same evidence that the only piece of evidence that I've seen, I actually haven't even seen it, the evidence that I've heard is that he was at my grandmother's house that whole day.
Well, no, actually, he was at the fire when it started. People saw him there, so he wasn't there the whole day. That's a misstatement that's been made, unfortunately.
Who was there?
Brian was at the fire. When the house was burning, he was in the crowd. There are many people who talk about what Brian said at the fire.
Okay, when my dad got, after my dad got the phone call and my grandmother he came with my grandmother to the house.
Yes, but let me ask you this, Justin. I don't know a whole lot about you. Please don't misunderstand my question. But don't you think that it's kind of strange to let a man who has threatened to burn down your house and kill you and rape you to come to the fire and watch the house burn? Don't you think that's a little weird?
I do agree it's weird. But
okay.
And isn't it weird that the firemen gave him a place to stay, and Steve still thinks that his brother could have had something to do with it, but he chooses to go stay with your grandmother, his mother, in the same house that Brian's in, but he suspects that Brian could have done this to his wife when he had a place that the firemen set up for him?
When the firemen set that up for him is when he went there. They did not set that place up for him the night of the fire.
Well, he could have stayed with Sarah.
Stayed where?
He could have stayed with his
Do you know
girlfriend, Sarah?
Sarah?
I don't know about, I know a little bit about Sarah, but I don't know anything about that much, no.
We were told that Brian got a ride with his friend Tommy to the scene, not with your grandmother.
Okay, then that's different than what I was told. I was told that he came with my grandmother.
Justin, that's a problem with a lot of things going on in this case. There's a lot of things being said, and there's a lot of conflicting information being said. And the problem with that is that unless we allow the police to, or hopefully have the police investigate everything, things are not going to be resolved.
And I agree with that.
Yeah, so you just have to be careful with what facts you say, that you know that they're what you experienced and not something else, because we were told, or I've been told, that your father actually stayed on the site that night. Now, you're saying that that's not true, or do you know something other than that?
I'm not 100%.
Okay.
I know, but neither are you.
No. Listen, I don't say I'm 100% sure of anything.
What I was told is that he was on the scene until late at night, like 3, 4 in the morning. Like late, and then went to my grandmother's for a couple hours of sleep, and then came back.
So what about the night of the memorial, Justin? Why didn't you hang out with your dad? Why did your dad hang out with Sarah after the memorial was over?
I was with him. We all went to dinner that night. Dan, Kim.
Sarah was there?
Sarah was not there.
No, not the night of the memorial.
The night of the memorial, we all went out to dinner.
I was there too.
Are you guys still there? You just got dead quiet.
It got quiet all of a sudden.
You guys thinking about who to...
I had mute on my phone.
Oh, okay. Well,
who else is here that has anything to say or ask?
But your dad went to the
I mostly just heard lots from Bobby on the outside listen throughout the past year plus and the debacle of the sheriff's office. My name was Patrick Kearns. Just heard just the tragedy of how this has been handled.
Right, well, I think first of all that the scene was released at all the evening of the fire and not entirely investigated. I think that's the fire department's fault, or the fire marshal.
And it wasn't released the night of. It was released a day or two after the fact.
If people stayed on that site until 3 and 4 in the morning, like your father and other people, it was released.
No,
because no one should have been on that. Wait a minute, Justin, let me say something, just so you understand. No one other than authority should have been on that site while it was still being investigated.
You're saying that people cannot be, and what's the distance?
Honey, all I'm saying
when somebody dies in a fire.
When there's a fire and someone dies in it, it becomes a crime scene.
They were outside of the tape.
No, wait. You're stating that after the fire was put out, your father was there until 3 or 4 in the morning. That's
outside
what you
of the
just
tape.
said.
Outside of the tape.
Okay, you're saying that it was taped. You know for sure it was taped, but you weren't there.
Yes, I know 100% a fact that it was taped because I was
But you weren't there, correct? Now, wait a minute. Let me
The next morning, it was still taped. The next day, it
wasn't taped.
Justin, calm down. We're asking you questions. This is the first time we're hearing you. Just calm down and answer the questions. Nobody's saying you're right or wrong. We're asking you questions. Okay? Just be calm about it. You're saying when you got there, there was still a tape around the scene. That's wonderful to know. That's wonderful to know.
My question is, when did you get there?
Right.
That next morning, I got there. I got to the property about 10 a.m.
Okay.
The next morning.
There you go. You're telling us a fact that you saw. that you got there at 10 and it had tape around it. That's good to know. I don't think anyone said that yet. See, so don't be angry. Just try to bear with the questions that are coming.
Okay, and actually, when I pulled up, when me and my wife actually pulled on the scene, onto the property, my dad was actually in an ambulance because of his blood pressure was so high because he was so worked up.
Wait, are you kidding? Or
I called you.
Wow. I mean, there's a video of him driving to the scene where he looks like he's about ready to fall asleep. There's absolutely nothing. Here, are you watching the video? Let me show you what your dad looked like on. Here, let's check it out. Watch this. This is look how freaked out. I know, I'm playing it for you right now. Look how freaked out he is right here. Boy, he's going nuts. Wow, look at him. Yeah, he looks like he needs an ambulance. I mean, this guy is so emotionless, it's hard to even explain. Okay, so just watch that over and over again. And I know it's your dad, but try to watch it with reality and go, wow, that's weird.
Gary, yes, I have seen.
My name isn't Gary.
Right now.
Yeah, my name isn't Gary. Yeah. But anyways,
what is your name then? I'm sorry.
Well, it's Gray, just like it says on the screen.
But
yeah,
what I was trying to say is I don't have the video, the YouTube pulled up right now because I'm on the phone.
Right. Well, check out this video later. You'll be stunned to see how he just.
The video. I have seen.
Right. What did you think? What did you think when you watched it?
I have seen this video. Can you let me finish talking, please?
Yeah, but what did you think of it
without
when you
interrupting?
Saw it? Well, it's my show. I'll interrupt if I feel like it. What did you feel? What did you think when you saw it?
That he was in shock.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
I mean, there is a such thing called shock.
Yeah.
In the medical field.
I talked to Steve Saturday morning, and he said he was going through the fire debris. So
that is not accurate.
And there is no.
Tell him, not me.
I mean, Dan's not a liar, so he remembers what he told him.
Then it may have been a miscommunication. I'm not saying Dan. I'm not trying to say you're a liar in any shape or form.
I'm just saying
it could have been a miscommunication. He could have said that they were going through the debris of the fire by talking about the investigators, not saying he was.
No, he said
your dad
he was.
taught you really well.
Well, I am saying that it could have been a miscommunication.
So either way, this place was not completely investigated before they let people walk around in it, because by the time
it's obvious.
Kim and Dan got there,
it's obvious from what he said about finding the bone. There's no that statement alone says that it was not thoroughly gone through before Justin was capable of walking through it and finding a piece of skull. So from that point on, you can say that the site was not secured by the fire department, in my opinion.
And I agree with that. I do believe it was released way too early.
Good for you, Justin. That was a good answer. because it seems very true.
I do believe that, I mean, obviously we all know that the investigators knew either that night or the next morning, or let me put it this way. We all know that the investigators knew that she was shot.
No, they don't know that. You cannot make that statement. Please do not make that statement. They picked up the body in parts. They could not make a determination of that for sure on the site until the coroner saw her. You can't.
Okay.
I don't know that
you're not
even.
You're not letting.
Wait a minute, Kim. Would you ask Randy if they would know that from seeing it?
Hold on. Can I finish my statement, please?
Is it prepared?
What I was trying
go ahead.
to say is the investigators would have known that she was shot, or at least should have known that she was shot before they released the scene.
Well, if they knew it, then they really shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, then
Correct.
Why didn't you know at 10 o'clock when you got off the plane and came to the site? Why didn't someone say to you, she's been shot, if they knew?
I don't know. Why did they not? And no one knows.
But that's my point. You're making a statement of something that can't
Okay, can we stop for a second?
Sure.
Justin, when did you find out that Nanette had been shot?
The day of the memorial.
Not earlier in the week. Okay.
Not early.
And then, did you turn in the piece of skull to the police, or you said you turned it in to
I didn't
Rick?
turn it in because I did not turn it in because I did not touch it.
Wait. Did you find the bullet after the memorial? So
No,
you're saying
after
that...
they released the scene.
Okay, but wait a minute. That's two different statements. The memorial was a couple of days after you got there.
It was July 21st.
Okay,
Correct.
so when did you find the bullet? What day?
Before the memorial, but after the
Okay.
scene was released.
So there we go, right there. There's the conflict right there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and not only did he tell me that he was told on Monday after the fire, he also told me that he found the piece of skull and turned it into the police. Now, why would I have any reason to make this up or lie? Why?
I don't know.
Well, he
because you've
just
been
said on the
lying
call.
all-
He just said on the call earlier that he turned it into the police, and it's recorded.
No, he said he turned it in to the investigator whose name he did not know that his father had there. He did not say police. He
And
said there was an investigator there, and he had him come get it, not the police.
As soon as I saw something that looked like could be a piece of bone, something was not supposed to be there, I immediately backed off and got the investigator who came over there, who put down evidence markers, took pictures of it.
Do you remember where it was found in the floor plan of the house?
Good question.
It was somewhere. I mean, there are no walls.
Quick, make it up.
See 100. But it was somewhere in between between their bedroom and the bathroom.
How can
So in the area that she was found.
Correct.
You're right. Well, that would make
that would make sense. Whoever's saying yeah, right, that would make sense. It wouldn't make sense to be on the other side of the freaking house.
I mean, does it really matter where the bone?
Did you?
I get it would matter where it was found, but wouldn't it
Well,
be?
yeah,
wouldn't
it's
it be
actually very
likely?
important.
Wouldn't it be likely that there would be a piece of bone on the ground that they just what's the issue with this? Is what I'm trying to figure out.
The issue is
the Faces lab put her entire skull back together in hopes of finding the path of the bullet and things like that. So the issue is that nobody examined that scene the way that they should have. Nobody took it to the foundation, and people are left to kind of poke around and find these things. I mean, to me, that's
crazy.
shocking. But
There was
the fact that the bed was not close to where her body was, correct? Am I saying that right? That the bed was one place and her body was separate. So if you found a piece of bone closer to the bed, that's
I did not say it was close to the bed.
Okay, where was it exactly then? I mean, you've been in the
Somewhere.
house a million times.
It was somewhere right in between, like that wall that separates the bedroom and the bathroom.
Here, let's look.
So was it on the bed side of the wall or the bathroom side of the wall?
I would have to say the bathroom side. I can't be 100% because there's no walls. I can't see walls anymore.
This is it right here, right in this area, though, right? That's the master bedroom. This is
yeah.
So where is he saying? In here somewhere?
He's saying.
Let me pull up the. But it was within. Put it this way. because they had roughly a 4x8, 4x10, 5x10, some 4x8 area clear down to the concrete where her body was. And it was about a foot away from that.
Okay, a foot away from towards the back closet, or a foot away towards the bedroom?
Towards the bedroom.
Okay, there you go.
So if the investigators...
So basically right where Graves' mouse is right now.
If the investigators would have investigated properly, and even if they would have gone another foot in each direction, they would have found what I found.
The problem is, Justin, you were on the site. I mean, in all actuality, I'm shocked. And what you're saying, it doesn't really matter where you found it. It matters that you found it, because it was a murder scene and a fire scene. And according to state law, the fire department should have kept the site secured until it was totally investigated. That's what the law says, according to what I've been told.
Did they claim that they were done? Did they claim that they were done? They just missed that piece of bone. I mean, because there was a case I was looking at earlier. Let me finish. Let me finish this really. Let me finish what I'm saying.
Okay, go ahead.
There was a case I was looking at earlier this year up in like Malibu Hills, where this girl, she was murdered, but it took a long time to find her, and then they found her body, and they supposedly went up there with anthropologists from doing all this stuff. So the family went up there to do a memorial about months after that, and they found one of her fingers just right there. So it kind of just shows you that there's really a lack of professionalism in general. We got this one. Yeah. Just rubber stamp it a lot of times, and they don't go through all the steps.
And until it's your family, you don't realize how important those misses are. This is the saddest situation I've heard of ever, that there's so much
Confusion. If you look at some of the pictures I sent you with all the debris inside the house, like the way you're looking at it now is after the sheriff's department finished
I have some
it.
of those, like this one, right?
But
like this,
you can see the way the fire marshal left it.
Like
that,
and maybe,
a little better than that, but
like
that's when...
Like that one?
Well, that's
like that.
Right after the fire.
Well, it's still not, that because on the other ones you can see the floor. This is sort of not there yet. This is in between.
Okay, in the picture that you have on right now, that little bitty cleared spot to the right.
Yeah. Oh, that's where she was. That's where she was, right here, right?
That's where she was, and
that makes sense.
Where you see where it kind of goes towards the bedroom a little bit, right there.
Yeah, right here.
Right about.
Right there.
No, keep going down some more. Good.
Yeah.
About right up in there is where I found that other piece.
By the door, Gina, by the door. Oh, God.
Right about.
Yeah, just down in
right
this
about
area.
there.
Well, now it would be a good time to go back to Google Earth, because now you can see that look again, and you're saying it was kind of closer, like right in here, kind of, right? Because this is. I think this is the same thing we were just looking at. Let me go back. Right. Let's see. Right, so that's the corner. And then this is the master bedroom right here, right? And that's the...
That would be the closet. The master bedroom is down, right there.
Yeah. Let me open up this Google Earth again. So now that we see that... Yeah, that's right? Just like that. So you're saying you found about in this area right here? Is that right?
No, down further. Yeah.
Oh,
about right up in there. Yes.
Okay. Well, this is the master bedroom right here, right?
Correct.
And then he's saying just outside the master bedroom, right? Right here, right? And she was found like right in this area, kind of. Like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
That dark spot is where her body was.
Right here? Okay.
No, that was the bath right there.
Right there.
Right there.
Okay. It's weird. It's weird to see something like that. Yeah.
Somebody's going to text you. Yes, a bullet was found, Laura. She's on the chat saying, was a bullet found too? Yes, a bullet was found also.
Do you know what kind of bullet it was?
Justin?
I mean, I cannot be 100% no. I mean, it wasn't a rifle. It was a handgun casing. I do know that. It wasn't. I do know it wasn't a 22.
Did they tell you that?
Did who tell me that?
The sheriff's office?
Sheriff's office has not told me anything along that line. No. When I saw it with my eyes, I mean, I know it wasn't a 22. A 22 is too small. And so it's got to be anywhere from a 380 to a 45.
Really? Because you told me a 45.
I did not.
Where did you see it? At the coroner's office?
Laura, you are that's not accurate because actually, I mean, if I can't tell. How could I say it's a 45? I have no clue.
Where did you see the bullet?
Laura, your story changes every 5 seconds. Who can believe you?
Justin, where did you find the bullet? In the house? Like near where you found the piece of bone, or was it?
It was within 6 inches of the bone.
So you found both pieces close. And was that by the door joint? Was there a door there, Justin?
It was an opening. It wasn't a door. It was an like.
There was never a door there?
It was never a door. It was an opening.
So the only
like
door,
just an open walkway.
The only door in that vicinity would have then been the inside of the bathroom and the closet. Is that true?
There was a door for the toilet, and there was a door for the closet, and then the door for going from the bedroom into the main part of the house.
Okay, thank you.
Do you think Brian is capable of doing this?
Yeah.
Of pulling this off?
Here, can I ask, there's a question that was asked in the chat, okay? I'm going to read it. I was just emailed it. So the question is, if he found a bone by the skull, or whatever that means, found a bone by the skull, how did he not know I think she meant like a bullet. Let's see. Bullet. If he found a bullet by the skull, how did he not know she was shot until the day of the memorial? You see what I'm saying?
I mean,
like he found a bullet, right?
I can't.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I found a casing. Now,
casing. Okay.
I mean, I know they had guns. I mean, I could not be 100%. It wasn't a used casing from them shooting, or if it was a casing that had gotten shot off from the heat.
Justin, that's a very good statement. You're making a very good statement at this moment. The fact that you can't tell if the bullet was shot or not.
I had, and again, I did not pick up the bullet, so I couldn't even tell. I didn't pick up the bullet, so I couldn't sit there and look at the casing to see what caliber it was. Look at the primer to see if the primer had actually been shot. Because I did not want to. As soon as I saw it, I backed off. And after that, I did not go on the house premises at all.
So let me go back to my question. Justin, do you think Brian would be capable of pulling this off? Do you think that he could have changed the video at home to make it look like he was there, thrown a wig on and gone to McDonald's in Nan's car? I mean, I don't know. Put a theory together, but do you think that he would be angry enough at her to do this? Do you think he'd be slick enough to pull it off?
Do I believe he was angry enough I haven't really talked to him in the months leading up to it because I wanted nothing to do with him. But do I believe at some points that he was angry enough to kill her and burn down the house? Yes. Do I believe that he is smart enough to actually do it to this extent? No. I do not believe he's got the smarts.
Justin, who was staying in the trailer?
Who does?
The trailer that was half burnt, you're talking about?
Uh-huh. Who was staying there?
No one.
Prior to the fire.
No one.
Yeah, prior to the fire.
That was just their camper that they would go on, trips with.
Okay.
Hey, Justin, who is smart?
What do you think of the
smart enough
fact
to pull that off? Who is smart enough? Who do you think would have the knowledge to pull that off and get away with it? That's, that you know of.
I mean, I ask myself that every day. I don't have
knowledge
all the
of fire.
I don't have all the. I have not seen the evidence to be able to make a good.
Do you think that your dad is capable of this?
I do not.
I'll just cut to the chase and ask it.
No.
Yeah. Huh.
Well, there are no words to say. This is just so sad.
Yeah. Who hasn't talked yet that's on the line? Anybody? Hello? I mean, there's a lot of you still on the line. Maybe you guys all put it on hold. There's 10 people online. If
I just had mine on mute and was listening.
Okay.
This was Patrick again.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Justin, have you had a conversation with Ryan since this has happened? Like, have you sat down with him and talked to him since this has happened to Nan?
Other than, like, if I've gone over to my grandmother's house and he's there, other than hi, no.
So when you go over there, Brian just hibernates in his room, or does he engage or sit around and observe, or how does that work?
He just is lazy and hibernates on the couch and in the game room or in his room and just watches TV. That's all he ever does.
And how does he get into all this trouble?
I mean, that's what he does when we're there. I mean, him getting into trouble is him trying to go get drugs.
You guys are so quiet. You gotta have things you're gonna keep asking.
I don't know. Well,
that's this is your gig. I'm opening up for the show for you guys. I don't have any.
Well, that's the problem with this whole event right now, Gray, is the fact that what he is saying confirms the fear that the family has had all along, that things were not handled up to par. And sadly, with that being said, what is the answer? And with the laws in Louisiana, from what I understand, and maybe Kim can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that Steve was the only person they had to report to. And that's the unfairness of this, is that they've not been able to get all the answers. So, listening to Justin talk and what time he got there and that he was on the site going through things, that's devastating.
When did he get there comparatively to the, how long?
10 o'clock in the morning the next day.
Yeah.
I got there at 10 o'clock the next day. I did not actually go on the scene until at least 2 days after the incident.
That's not what you just said, Justin. You said you were on the site that day. Honey, you got to be real careful with what you're saying, sweetheart, because that's not what you just said.
If I said on this scene,
you said that you got there and the tape was still up. Correct. You got there at 10 o'clock and the tape was still up. Those were your exact words. Yes. And that, okay.
Who's talking in the background behind Justin there?
That is my wife.
Okay.
Who was with me at the time. And yes, the tape was up at 10 o'clock in the morning when I got there. Everyone with my dad, grandmother, other firefighters, the ambulance that had to be on scene, everyone that was there was outside of the tape.
Okay, all right, so you've clarified that. Okay, thanks, Justin.
No problem.
So you didn't go beyond the tape for 2 days?
I did not go beyond that tape at all. The only time that I went, what I guess you could say beyond the tape, is once the sheriff's department had removed the tape.
Okay, so you were not on site until someone took down the caution tape. And
but that's important. Who took down the tape?
Yeah.
And when was that? When did they take that tape down?
Yeah.
I want to say it was like 2 days
before they
after.
took that thing down to the slab. They did not take it down to the slab. There was no tape when we were there, and they had not investigated that scene, which is what is highly disturbing to me.
Kim, what day did you guys get there? Kim, what day did you guys get there?
We got there on Monday, and there was no tape, and you could walk right through it.
I guess that's,
the scene is just screwed from there. I mean,
there's nothing. I understand how mad you are, and I agree, but the whole thing is that it's right there. It doesn't. It's at that moment when they didn't go as far as they could to find out what the hell was on site. For Justin to be saying that he found a bullet and a piece of skull, that's...
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, I'll shut up.
No. Just before I forget, where was Nan's computer? Like, when she was on her computer, where in the house would she be, for the most part? Does anybody know?
She would usually be either on her laptop, she would sit at the kitchen table, or sometimes she would sit in the kitchen or on the couch.
Okay, the screen that was on the counter in the kitchen, was that part of her laptop or another screen?
I don't know anything about a screen.
Like their video surveillance, like where would they watch the cameras that were on the house?
I mean, they had a TV. They did have a TV on the. So, Gray, if you go straight up with your cursor,
to
the outside wall and about 2 tiles to the left.
Like this right here.
So keep going. Like right there. Nope.
I know. I was already there. I was already 2 tiles to the left. I was stopped right there.
Okay, so then go. There might be a lag. So hold on. Let's see. More to the right. Even with that the counter space that you can see,
Right there.
Right about there. They had a TV there. And that was just, you know, a little 15-inch TV.
Next to the stove? Was the stove right there?
No, the stove is that block that right around where that, I don't know if it is that block or in that spot where that block is in that kitchen.
On the opposite wall?
On the opposite wall, yeah.
Oh, you know, angle wall. I don't mean opposite,
yeah.
but on a diagonal triangle type wall. Okay.
Correct.
Thanks.
So is there any verification?
Well, I guess I'm thinking of the...
Hold on a second. Is there any verification? I mean, is this a known thing that you found a piece of the skull and the shell? Like, is this... They actually collected it from you and then did add it, and they've documented, oh, wow, somebody found it? I mean, is that a real thing? Is this real? I mean, is there verification of it is what I want to know. Do you get what I'm saying?
I mean, all I know for a fact is the investigator took pictures of it with the evidence markers, collected it, and supposedly gave it to the sheriff's department.
Okay, now, again, let me clarify what you're saying. When you're saying investigator, you are talking about the gentleman your father hired, not a fire investigator that you got introduced to that had a uniform on. You're talking about the gentleman that your father had come into the site.
This was the insurance investigator that collected it.
Okay. So there were two investigators there for your dad, this gentleman that he hired and the insurance investigator. So when you were there on site, your father had two separate investigators going through the site.
He didn't have it, but there were two, yes.
Okay,
he hired the fire investigator to try to see what happened, and then the insurance hired an investigator.
But insurance doesn't have a clue what to do with the skull. Like the insurance company investigator is looking to see if it. I mean, why would he be given the skull to collect? Like that doesn't make any sense at all.
No, I believe he's saying the fire investigator that Stephen hired is who took the picture. No, you're not saying that?
No.
The insurance investigator is the one that collected it and gave it, because actually the two investigators were arguing over who would take it.
Who was arguing
Did
over
anybody
it?
ever turn it in to the sheriff? Ever? Do you know?
I'm not 100%, no.
That's what we were told.
Why don't you put her on for a minute? Get her to...
Yeah.
I've got to try to go to work. I actually have to walk out the door right now. But,
okay.
I mean, I could call from my car.
Who's going to talk from their car?
I think it's
my wife.
Oh, okay. I thought that I sounded like Wendy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Justin, why were you taking pictures on the altar that day at the memorial? Don't you think that was just a little much while we're all mourning and you're taking pictures of all of us?
My father wanted pictures to help remind him of all the support that she had, all the support that was there, all the amount of people that were there.
And that was wonderful of you to do what your father requested, Justin.
Justin, I had one question. It's about that tape around the fire scene. Your dad had told me that because the fire marshal and the sheriff did not put one around the scene, he did to secure it as best he could. Is that the basically the tape that was around the fire scene?
I cannot. I don't know who put the tape up. All I know is when I arrived, there was tape. It was where the electrical poles were. Is where it was tied across all the way back, from the wood line to the wood line, all the way back about where the electrical poles are.
And then who took the tape down?
I do not know.
So you weren't there when it was taken down. It was already down when you got there. Whatever day. When you walked on the site, the tape was already down. You didn't see who took the tape down.
Correct. And then
okay.
Stephen had saw that it was down and called, and then saw there was no one on scene, because also by law, Louisiana law, if the scene is secured, someone has to be on scene. You know, some sort of law person has to be on scene to keep it secure.
And was someone there at 10 in the morning?
One was there. And
excuse me?
10 in the morning, when I arrived, there was.
But did your dad say that there was someone there all night?
There was someone there all night. There was someone there all day. When I arrived at 10 o'clock, there was someone there all day, and there was someone there all that night.
And that was fire people that were there, not sheriff's office, right?
It was either, and it wasn't. It was either the fire investigators that were there, or the sheriff's department was there.
You don't know which?
I do not remember. No, I believe the sheriff's department was.
Justin, can I ask you a question? Did you hear the last of these shows, The Gray Hughes Investigates, the one from a week or so ago?
I did not.
On that show, somebody called in and said that when your father was married to your mother, that he had asked or offered to pay somebody to kill her.
Now, my mom had watched the show, and she had told me about that. And her and my grandmother on my mom's side, so her mother, both don't think that's actually accurate, because they believe, because they couldn't, my mother could not go anywhere without someone stating, so my mom Mitzi, my dad's ex-wife, my mother, my true mother, had, couldn't go anywhere at that time. She couldn't go to the store. She couldn't go anywhere without someone telling her, that Stephen was having an affair.
Was he?
Excuse me?
He was having an affair. He was having an affair with Nan.
Oh, okay. I understand. Okay.
Right. So maybe Nan felt the same way. She felt like she couldn't go anywhere of all the multiple affairs your dad was having on Nan.
Well, what does that have to do with the question I asked you?
What was the question again? Yeah, sorry. So she doesn't see that if she couldn't go anywhere and without people telling her that, he was having an affair with her, that no one would say anything about that. No one would know that he wanted a hit out on her. So even my mom does not believe that Stephen actually had asked anyone to put a hit out on her.
She doesn't think
but she wouldn't have put it past him. Is that what you're saying?
No, she doesn't believe that he would have.
Mm.
She doesn't believe that he did.
And what does that have to do with, because he was caught having an affair, that he wouldn't have been capable of it?
No,
those two things don't relate in my mind.
Because she couldn't go anywhere without people telling her, hey, being open with her, saying, hey, he's having an affair. So she doesn't comprehend how people could, if he actually did put a hit out on her, which she does not believe, that they wouldn't have known that he wanted to hit out on her.
Well, of course, maybe he only asked the one guy, and then the guy didn't say anything. That doesn't mean that it didn't happen. But.
Right.
Okay. I mean, then my other thing is, why would that person who said that he actually put a hit out on her, why would he just now come forth with that after 20 years of being silent?
Well, because your mother wasn't killed, but there was someone else that he was married to that was killed. So maybe your mom, it didn't happen to her, but it happened to someone else he was married to.
Okay, but then why is he all of a sudden being a good Samaritan? Why did he?
It's not a matter, Justin. Wait, honey, Justin, hold on a minute. It's not about being a good Samaritan. It's about trying to find out what everyone's personalities are, and if your father is capable of doing this. You don't understand. She got killed right before her birthday. Wait, it was her 50th birthday, and he didn't even have any plans. Her grave still doesn't have a marker on it. We're trying to figure out what type of person your father is. And so your answers are so important. It doesn't matter if the guy's coming out now and saying it, because it didn't happen then. But what he is saying
what I'm trying to say, hold on. What I'm trying to say is, my father never said that. That person.
You don't know that. No, you don't know that, Justin.
Who was this person?
It doesn't matter who it was. You just don't know that. Sweetheart, you don't know that.
Who is this person?
If you listen to part 2, you can hear, Justin, if you listen to part 2 of Gray's show, you can hear that person talking about it.
Russell?
He didn't give his name.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's...
Who is that?
Gave a name or not.
He didn't give his name.
No, I didn't think so.
I mean, to me, that doesn't... I mean, why then... That, to me, is a lie. That is someone just trying to stir stuff up.
Now, wait a minute, Justin.
Well, then, who's this name that you came up with, then?
Justin, let's back up a minute. Yeah. You just said something to Gina at the beginning of this, when you started talking, and people said that there were emails where Nanette said that she had a little bit of a fear of you. You wanted to see those emails. How many years later? See,
I never knew they
You're playing... Now, wait. Don't get upset with me. Just listen to what I'm saying. You're playing a double standard here. If it's about you, you're saying, well, it's okay for me to ask now, this many times later. She's gone. It doesn't matter if she was afraid of you. And what this man is saying, hold on, Justin.
No, as far as I knew, she was not afraid of me.
Yes, but the point is, Justin,
she is afraid of me until that show airs.
Justin, the point is this, sweetheart. There's proof that she was afraid of you before she passed away. And this gentleman that you're saying is just a good Samaritan is saying the same thing. That he heard Stephen ask this request of his first wife. So you can't sell anyone short. You have to accept what people are saying.
Okay, and
can I ask?
Okay, hold on. What I'm saying is me, my mom, and my grandmother all do not believe that he actually said that.
That's wonderful for you to say that. He'll be thrilled to hear you say that.
And I want to put this out there. I am
then
not
why do you think you know who said it? Why do you think you know who said it if you don't think that there's any truth to it? Then how do you know who it was?
Said that. Because someone has said that name. Okay, but let me put this out there just to be very clear. I am not saying anything because he is my dad. If I had any belief that my dad did it, I would be the first to say he did. But I do not believe he did. because I want justice. I want
Good
justice
for you. That's a great
for
thing
my
to
mom just as much as all of y'all. She was my mother.
Wait, Mitzi or Nanette?
Nan was my mother. She felt like a mother to me. She felt like I was her son.
No.
Yes. You ask anyone.
I asked her.
Why would she get up and dance with me then at my wedding?
I've never seen a more uncomfortable look on somebody's face when they released from a dance.
Because she was shocked. Because she had no clue that was coming.
It wouldn't have had a disgusted look on her face.
She wasn't expecting it. She was crying out of sadness, out of happiness.
She wasn't crying.
She was crying. Look at her face.
You mean, is this about the, wedding dance thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. She looked like she had a little, like a aw face toward the end.
Family dynamics are complicated, and I have no doubt that she cared about you, but I also think that she feared you. I think that both of those things could be true.
Yeah, I mean,
that your behavior was at times erratic, that you like to carry guns, that you like to...
Okay, isn't it a constitutional right to carry guns?
Oh my God!
You like to carry concealed weapons without a permit. No. That you like to carry guns illegally, that you did not have a legal permit to carry in that way.
In the state of Virginia, where I live...
But you weren't in Virginia, you were in Louisiana.
No. I live in Virginia. I've lived in Virginia for the past 5 years.
I know that.
This is way before 5 years ago. Just kind of be quiet for a few minutes and listen to what she's saying to you.
Before I lived in the state of Virginia.
What?
I had never carried a gun other than a rifle, which I legally am allowed to carry at the age of 18.
Well, maybe I'm remembering the story wrong. Maybe it happened in Virginia, but she was uncomfortable with the fact that you were carrying guns concealed on your person in a restaurant.
Wouldn't any parent kind of be like, oh, something might happen, he's carrying a gun. Wouldn't any parent kind of be concerned?
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. So that you can't justify her being concerned about me carrying a gun as her being scared of me.
Her fear was more expressed, when we talked to her in her emails, of your behavior towards other people when you had guns on you. She talked about an incident where someone's car had gotten damaged.
Here's a direct quote. Justin always carries his gun, and he is impulsive, unsafe, and has a bad temper. There's one direct quote.
And that's not a mean statement, Justin. Okay. That's just saying you shouldn't have been carrying a gun.
And you can kind of see that temper a little bit on the show here. If things aren't going your way, you get really you kind of blow up really quickly. It's pretty odd, actually. Anyways, continue.
It's just, but you still can't. That comment has nothing to state that she is scared of me.
Well, okay, if you go and you see something that's yellow and green and you say, well, I kind of don't like the yellow, he's okay when he's green, it sort of implies that there's a little bit of doubt there. So maybe we're using the wrong words to say that she had concern. We just know that she had concerns. That's all. You can't let that eat you up. You have to accept the fact that it's too late for you to find out this stuff now. Let's hope you're a great man right now, a good husband, and that you do everything correct. Let's hope that's the case. I think that you've been great answering these questions.
And I have...
Yeah, it has been very helpful.
Right.
And I don't have any problem answering questions. Anytime the sheriff or anyone has asked me any questions, here you go. Here's an answer. And if I can, here is proof to back up what I am saying.
The only thing you have to do, Justin, is when people are asking you these questions about the scene and the fire and the bullet and where it was, instead of saying, well, it was sort of here, just try to make sure that your answers are as accurate as possible, because what you're discussing is evidence of a murder. And
I understand that.
Okay, well, just so you know, you're doing great. I mean, you're answering it. That's. I mean, I'm just saying that. Just be careful when you answer that you're telling it the exact way that it is. That's all.
Because when I say it was in between the bedroom and the bathroom, I say that because I cannot be 100%. This is the exact location it was. All I know is a general, area.
Well, you've given us the one clue that's very important. You made a statement that someone took a picture of where it was before it was touched. So therefore, there's a picture in evidence of where that bone and where the bullet was. Lucky us.
So, Justin, you haven't ruled out that Brian could possibly be capable of doing this. So, first of all, Brian's been doing drugs since I knew him in high school, and that was a long time ago. We're not going to say how many years. I mean, do you think he was capable of setting the kind of fire that was set at that house and not being able to divulge anything or come and tell anybody about it when his brain has been so fried? And if you think that he was possibly capable of it, then what would his motive be? I mean, why would he kill Nan? Why wouldn't he kill Steve and Nan? Why would he just kill Nan?
I mean, I'll answer that, why he would kill. Well, I'll start there. Why I think he would kill if he was to do it, which I do not believe he is capable of that extent and keeping his mouth shut this whole entire time. I do not believe that someone who has been on drugs for as long as he can, as long as he has the amount his brain is fried, I do not believe he could keep his mouth shut. But if somehow he was able to, and he was actually able to do this, and he did do it, if he did, I believe he would have killed Nan to hurt Stephen.
But how come? Because Stephen, he was already kind of dating somebody else and moving on. Like, why would he be hurt?
That doesn't matter.
What doesn't matter?
Because he loved her. It doesn't matter if he was having an affair. The fact of the matter is they were married for however long, and they were together still.
No, that's really, I gotta say, that's a really naive statement right there. There's a lot of people that fall out of love.
Who's talking right now?
I think that's the wife.
This is Michelle, because that is between them.
Yeah, I think it's just a really naive comment, actually. Like, there's a lot of people that just grow out of love.
I don't care. What I'm trying to say, what was going on with the affair is they had worked it out. What was going on between them, you guys don't know besides what was possibly said to you. You don't know what conversations happened between them.
Right, but either did you, but you just stated it as a fact. No, but either did you, but you just stated it as if you were right. But you don't have a clue, right?
Okay.
All right, so the truth is that it could be either way. That he still loved her a lot, but he wasn't interested anymore, and he started dating somebody else. Or he really just didn't like being with her at all anymore, and he was really controlling, and he went, you know what, I'm going to find somebody else. And he didn't like her at all. Okay, so there's two options there. There isn't just what you want it to be, okay? I'm just saying there's both, right? Okay.
Correct.
So does your grandmother on your dad's side believe that Brian could possibly have something to do with it?
Answer to that question is, I honestly believe no, she does not, because she believes that it's hard for her to believe that he even does drugs.
Justin, who does your family think killed the Nanette?
I mean, in the beginning,
yeah.
At the very beginning, I strongly thought it was him. Was Brian.
Okay, and so did your father. So he said to me.
And, I mean, but as more and more time goes on, with less and less information going, it makes me, I don't believe that he could keep his mouth shut this long. So, as more and more time goes on, I believe that he might not have actually had something to do with this, because I don't think he could have kept his mouth shut.
You think that he would brag about it? And in saying that about him, does that mean that you think he's that mean of a person that if he had ever killed or hurt someone before, you would know about it because he would brag about it?
I'm not necessarily saying I think he would brag about it, but I mean, I do believe that in one of his super drunken states or one of his super drugged up states that he would say something. Or
lose control. I got it. I got what you're saying. I missed what you were saying, and thank you for explaining it. What about you? What? Okay.
But, Justin, I've known Brian for a long time. And, Brian has never been a mean, hateful person. And, he's a drug addict. And it's a shame. And it's very sad. And I wish that he wasn't. And I wish he would have had a better life and gotten married and had kids. And, like everybody wants to do. And I thought he honestly was going to. I mean, I've known him for a very long time. But he's never been mean-spirited. And if you do think he's mean-spirited, why would you have him living with... Why would Steve and you and Wayne have him living with your mother, who no longer has her husband, if he is capable of possibly, in your mind, thinking that he could kill my sister? What if he would go on one of those rants and kill your grandmother? So, if that's how fearful y'all are of him, I'm just very shocked. So it just doesn't add up.
Can I ask
doesn't add up.
I want to ask a question about this. Let me. So you thought it was Brian right away, Justin, right? Did you talk to your dad first before? Did he say, God, I wonder if Brian did this? And then you went, oh, yeah, and that's how it kind of developed in your mind? Or did you guys independently from each other both think up Brian?
Hold on.
Independently, because the only information that I had gotten from my dad at the very, very beginning was there was a house fire and that she had died.
Right, but what made you suspect Brian, like, right off the get-go? Like, whoa, that's got to be Brian. Like, what made you do that?
Because I had heard of a letter that he had written to Nan after Nan and Stephen had picked him up, or went to, because they had gotten a phone call from him, and that he had gotten in a wreck, and they showed up, and then shortly after they showed up, police arrived. Brian correlated the police just showing up because there was a wreck to Stephen had called them. So he blamed them. And it may have been out of anger. I don't know. But there was a letter. I was told there was a letter that said that, and this was a year and a half ago, whenever he went to prison, that the letter basically stated that he wanted to rape Nan. He wanted to show her what he went through in jail. And if he wouldn't come out, if she wouldn't come out of the house or let him in, he would burn down the house and force her to come out.
And you saw this letter or just heard about this letter?
I had just heard of this letter.
And who told you about it?
Nan.
Nanette herself told you about this letter?
Yes.
Thank you.
So your dad immediately tells the authorities about this letter after the fire, like a few minutes, a few hours after the fire. So that was his mindset at that point.
I don't know. I was not there at that time. I do not know what he, said to the authorities. I was never with him when he was actually talking with the authorities.
You're talking about your father. You were never with your
Correct.
father when he was talking
Correct.
to the authorities. What about
Correct.
the other brother? Have you seen him since the fire?
I have not. I do not. I may have seen him, briefly, but not like I haven't really spoke. I mean, me and him just talk whenever we happen to be in the same area. I've only visited him like once since I've lived up here, and he was a couple hours away.
Okay.
And Nanette actually is responsible for, or not responsible, but Brian blames Nanette because she didn't. I can't remember what the scenario was, but for being in prison in the first place, right? Like, wasn't it like she reported something, and then he got? Go ahead.
Yes.
Can you explain it to people?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Well, he had called Steve and Nanette for help, and my dad, are you still on here?
Yes.
Dad? Do you want to explain that? Okay.
Well, Nanette explained it to me this way, that for some reason, Brian blamed mostly Nan over the police arrival at that scene. And she had said that if it came down to having to go testify, that she believed Steve would not tell the truth to get Brian off the hook, but she said she would not lie. And so after that, it really focused on Nan, and Steve somehow wasn't the brunt of Brian's threats.
Yeah. So he might actually may have really had that kind of the anger there. So he'd be a perfect fall guy, though, right? Like, wow, we've already got this letter. Oh yeah, just blame it on the druggy brother. It's kind of shameful, really. I mean, like that his brother, that Stephen, just immediately starts throwing out his brother under the bus, because why not, man? God, he's already been in prison. People might even believe it. Kind of gives you a viable suspect. That's what it almost sounds like what's going on a little bit.
Yeah, and from what people said, Brian just don't know if he'd be capable of keeping his mouth shut about it, really, if he did something.
So, Justin, you mentioned that you don't really talk to your Uncle Wayne that often unless y'all are around each other or you're in town or however that works. So how often did you talk to my sister, or did y'all talk regularly, or did you just talk when you would be in town, or how did that work?
Talk to who? I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you. I talk to Nan almost every day.
The day before the fire, did you talk to her?
No, I did not. It was a couple of days before that I had talked to her.
On the phone, or
what did she say?
On the phone and via text.
Do you still have those texts that you could send to Kim or Gina?
Wow.
I'm looking.
Sounds like my house when the
Wasn't
delivery guy comes by.
It wasn't mine this time.
it wasn't?
No.
I thought it was.
Yeah, I've only got about another 15 minutes or so here. So it's been 2 hours and 10 minutes.
We know how to monopolize all your time. Don't worry.
we can do it again, though. Hey, part 4 in the next couple of weeks. But you know what you should do is get some of the actual the firemen, like a bunch of them, to call in at the same. That's all there are. The ones that actually worked with him and know the information.
I would love all of the people that were at the fire to be online and talk about things. I would think that would be just super to hear their, first of all, the sadness, and then finding her and the whole story. It has to touch their souls. That's all I can say. It has to touch.
How can we get that? Get those people? Do you guys have access to all those people somehow?
We have access to some of them and can try to get more.
Yeah, let's set something like that up.
Yeah, there was a guy that just joined the Facebook page that said he was on the scene that day. I'll try to gather them up next time and make that the focus.
Yeah, be interesting to...
But Justin, did you find those texts?
The last text that I'm seeing was on the 5th.
Well, would you send those to them, please? Could you do that? That would be just awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, at those on the 5th, it wasn't, because I know we were talking on the phone that day, and then, she was complaining about, the heat and stuff. So then
She was complaining about the what?
Heat and...
The heat.
Oh, okay.
Like how hot it was. So then I sent her a picture of my thermometer, showing that it was 82 degrees, and I just said, just thought you would like to see this. And then she sent back, like a little emoji of a cat flipping me off.
Nice.
We look forward to seeing that, Justin. You were very brave in calling in tonight, Justin. Very, very brave. You did a good job answering questions.
And, I mean, I just want, everyone, I'm not trying to hide anything at all.
Justin, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Did your dad ever talk about what the sheriff's office might have shared with him in terms of surveillance video that they were able to pull the day of the fire?
All I've got, is that they have gotten nothing from the DVRs that were at the house. That the sheriff's department and the FBI could not get anything off of it.
And to the best of your knowledge, there was no video acquired from like McDonald's or anything like that?
I mean, all I know is of the fire, of the McDonald's video that, which I have not gotten to see.
Yeah.
Have you been back since her funeral?
Let's see. Yes, I have.
So you've seen the new house and the motorcycle and the trailer, huh?
Yes.
But they
and the Jeep and the RV.
This video on the screen here is a really good one for just to see the absolute destruction.
Really is.
Yeah, just nothing left. I mean, nothing. It's like it just destroyed everything.
Yeah, it was a really well set fire, planned on destroying any evidence that might exist. That I believe.
Have you met your dad? Have you met your dad's new girlfriend?
No.
I'm hanging up now. To all of your Watson, to all of you related to Nanette and friends of hers, my heart goes out to all of you. I know that this is so difficult. Goodbye.
Thank
you. For calling.
Bye.
What's her name? That lady?
Debbie.
Debbie? Okay. Well, how about maybe that's a good time to, end the show. My wife's going to be coming home in a few minutes, and you'll hear clanking and doors shutting and the dishwasher banging around. I mean, not that she's emptying. I'm just saying she always goes into the kitchen first. All right. Oh, Gray, you make your wife do all the dishes. Nah, listen, I do them too, okay? Not every time. But, all right, listen. Wow, I mean, that was a lot of...
Yeah.
It was interesting, actually talk to family members and have Justin on, actually.
Justin, you have my messenger. You can send me the pictures of those checks on the Facebook Messenger. All right.
Yeah. So why don't you guys
Justin, thanks for answering all the questions.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Justin. And listen, and why don't you guys put together, see if you can find a bunch of the people that worked there too, and maybe even the people who showed up on the scene first, how it went, what their observations were, that kind of thing.
Sure.
I mean, if that's something you want to do, I think that'd be,
of course,
great. Maybe we won't put
10. Everybody that enjoyed this program, pay Gray through PayPal.
Hey, that's right. That's right.
Comment.
Well, that's Well, we have super chats or
PayPal. Buy a T-shirt. We have T-shirts for sale on our Justice for Nanette Facebook page.
Yeah.
That will help with the Justice for Nanette fund as well.
Do you guys have a fund? Hey, let's do it. I'm going to donate to it right now. I was actually I was going to donate on the first of the month, but I just keep forgetting on each show, and I don't know why. But like later in the day, I go, "Oh crap, I forgot." Oh, I'll do it again. So, can I do it with PayPal or anything?
Well, right now it's a T-shirt sale through Bonfire. I think it is. They allow you to keep proceeds for. But I'll set up. We had a fund set up, and now whatever that UCaring site isn't up anymore.
Okay, well, why don't you set up
make
a new one or something, and maybe next show we'll put something in there. All right.
All right.
I have so many shirts now from mine. I sell shirts too, and I bought like I bought like 5 of them myself because they're pretty sweet, man. Let's see.
I want one of your shirts too.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. The Nefarious or We Are Freaks shirts. And there are mugs too. There are mugs, but yeah, and a lot of people have sent them in, and I have a slideshow. I don't know if you guys have ever. I think I might even. Let me see something. Hold on a second. Right here. Maybe that's not it. Oh, here we go. Yeah, see look right there. See, these are different people sending in the. There's Jim Nething. Look at that. There he is. See? I don't know if you can still see it on the air. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and see, that's the We Are Freaks shirt. And they're eating a Honey Crisp right there. That's what I eat all the time. I've eaten a couple of them on the air, too. So, I know some people hold them where the mug looks like it's huge, but I don't think it's that big. Anyways.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you, guys. The Lanky Jan, Daro, and Kit Kat. All right. Yep, and there's Audra Blankenship. You see her in there, in the chat there, talking.
Yeah,
I wish I'd put everyone else's names on there. I think that's Patricia right there. Anyways, all right, that's it. All right.
All right.
So
thank you.
That's your homework.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming on, and I hope we can get some things figured out, or at least put a little bit of pressure on some of these people. You know what I mean? Don't seem like they're doing much at this point. So yeah.
I dare anyone to shut us up by solving this case.
Yeah, and then go out and get those guests, the people that worked with him, and maybe the people who showed up at the scene that day. Maybe they noticed something. All right.
Absolutely. Yep. We'll get it done.
All right.
Part 4 coming up.
All right, you guys.
Good night, all.
Harassing.
Okay, thanks for coming on. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye. See you later, Dan.
Bye.
Wow. That's some crazy stuff right there, isn't it? Hey, thank you, Audra Blankenship. Hey, and Audra, when are your CDs coming up for sale? That's coming up soon, isn't it? She has her band. She'll have to come on again. We'll play one of her songs again, or a couple of them. Thanks, Eldrick. Appreciate it. All right. Well, I think that's it for this. It's possible that I might come on a little bit later to discuss just some God, I can't remember now. My brain. I've been so all over the place. The Kelsey Barrett case that we were talking about last night. Today I've spent so much time. It was kind of interesting because I'm, like I've told you before, me, Lorden, and a guy that goes by Morph. He's a podcaster. We had our first sort of practice podcast today together, just us three. Yeah, there were some moments where it was pretty damn funny, I gotta tell you. But it didn't, I mean, that's not gonna make it on the air, but that part was funny. All right, everybody, that's all I got for you. Been a busy day, and maybe I'll be back on a little bit later. Don't know at this point, but until next time, everybody, be safe out there.